Good day everyone. Today we are doing equations. So we are doing linear and fractional equations. So I'm going to start with linear equations. If you are solving an equation, you are supposed to first clear your what? Clear your brackets. Then collect your like terms. You end up by what? By dividing if it's possible. So in this case, I've got this question. It's from November 2004. It's from November 2004. There is the question that I wrote down there. It's number 1B. It's number 1B. This is the question. It says solve the equation. So in this case, we are doing linear equations. That there is the question that we are doing. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So the first procedure is to clear the brackets. So if we are clearing the brackets, other terms are going to remain as they are. So we are going to have 5 plus 4m minus 21 minus 6m equals 0. Now I have to collect my like terms here. Then it's now 4m minus 6m is equal to this 21 will go that side, 21, this 5 will change sign, minus 5, that 0 is useless. So negative 2m is equal to 21 minus 5, that's what? That's 16. Then I'll divide both sides by negative 2, negative 2. Then I'll cancel out 2. I didn't cancel that negative, so I'm going to obtain negative 8 there. So therefore, m is equal to negative 8. M is equal to negative 8. So if you are doing an equation, for the sake of practice, I'm going to show you how do you prove your equation that what you are doing is correct. So below, you are supposed to determine your what? Your proof. But if you are in an exam situation, it's not necessary for you to prove that what you are doing is correct. You can do it just for the sake of practice. So if you are proving, you just take what? Your value of the what? Of the variable, so that you substitute there. So in this case, you want to prove. Want your proof here. So in this case, so it's 5 plus 4. Instead of putting this m, I'm going to put the value of m, negative 8 minus 3 bracket 7 plus 2 bracket negative 8 is equal to 0. I'm proving here. So that's now 5 plus minus 32 minus, in this case it's minus 21. Then 2 times negative 8, that's what? That's negative 16. Then negative 16 times negative, so that's a positive 48 is equal to 0. So this is 5 minus 32, that's minus 27 minus 21 plus 48 is equal to 0. Then in this case, minus 27 minus 21, that's what? That's minus 48. So I'm going to have minus 48 plus 48. That's equal to 0. So that's how you determine that this is correct. So your proof is supposed to indicate that whatever is found on your left hand side is the same as what is found on your right hand side. So that's the way you prove your equation. Then the next question is November 2009. There is the question. It's number 2a. The question says solve the equations. There is the question that you want to do there. So I have to first open my brackets here. In this case, I'm going to have 7h plus 21 minus 2h plus 8 is equal to 4. Then collect my like terms. 7h minus 2h is equal to 4 minus 8 minus 21. Then 5h is equal to 4 minus 8, that's what? That's a negative 4. Then negative 4, negative 21, that's what? negative 25. Then I divide both sides by 5. Both sides by 5. So h is equals to negative 5. That is my answer. I've shown you how to prove your equation. So if you want to prove, you still do the same. As I said, it's not necessary for you to do this if you're in an exam situation, but it's wise for you to always prove your equations. If we are practicing maths, always prove your equations that what you are doing is correct. So I'm moving on to November 2011. We're now moving on to November 2011. There is the question. It's number 3A. Number 3A, solve the equation. That is a linear equation. That is a linear equation. So let's try to solve that equation. So the concept in this case remains the same. We have to first open our bracket. So we are going to have x times x, that's x squared, plus x minus 2x squared minus 2x is equal to 3x squared minus 3. I then collect my like terms. So in this case, I have got my x squared minus, is it a negative? Okay, it's a positive. It's positive 2x, so it's a positive here. So it's x squared plus 2x squared, then minus x minus 2x minus 3x squared is equal to minus 3. I then collect my like terms properly in this case. So I've got here x squared plus 2x squared, that's 3x squared, then minus 3x squared, then minus is this a minus or it's a positive? That's a positive there. It's x times what? Times 1. That's a positive x there. That's a positive x there. So it's positive x. Therefore, it's positive x minus 2x. I'm going to obtain a negative x here. You see how I'm doing my workings. I always follow up before you write. So you try to minimize your mistakes by doing what? By doing follow-ups on your previous workings. So this is now equals to negative 3. Now 3x squared minus 3x squared, that's a 0 there. Then I'm left with that negative x is equal to negative 3. Negative x is equal to negative 3. We just divide by what? By a negative 1. By negative 1 both sides. Negative 1. So your final answer, x is equal to what? 3. So if you are doing mathematical workings, try to make sure that before you start writing the other step, try to revisit your previous working. So I'm showing you how to minimize mistakes. So that's why I'm creating these videos while I'm working at the same time, instead of giving you a worked video, so that you do what? You learn how to minimize your errors as you do your calculations. Let's move on to the other question here. So now we're doing June 2015. There is the question. In this case, there is the question. Solve the equation. There is our linear equation. We've got number 22a. It's a linear equation. But what you have to understand here is that this question was a bit trickier here. Whenever, if you're opening a bracket and that bracket is preceded by what? By a negative sign, that automatically means that we have to open that bracket using a negative sign. So in this case, we're going to have 3. So we assume that here there is what? There is an imaginary 1. Whenever, if you're doing maths, just know that we have got an imaginary 1 before every bracket. So in this case, it's negative 1 times 2. That's a negative 2, and then negative times a negative, that's a positive 5, is equal to 32. Then you collect your like terms. You've got a negative 2n is equal to 32 minus 5 minus 3. Then negative 2n is equal to 32 minus 5 is what? Is 27. 27 minus 3 is what? Is 24 over negative 2 over negative 2. So I'm doing these workings with you so that you learn how to minimize your mistakes. So it's 2 into what? 24, that's 12. You didn't cancel that negative, so I'm going to put it there. So your n is equal to negative 12. That's your answer. So basically I can say we are done with what? With fractions. We are done with the, actually not fractions, we are done with our equations. These are linear equations. We are now moving on to what? To fractional equations. So the basic idea, if you are doing linear equation, just know that whenever if you come across an equation with brackets, first clear off those brackets. You might find it maybe with a root sign. First clear that root sign by doing what? By squaring both sides. So I've used past exam question papers so that you can try to follow up. So let's move on to what? To fractional equations. Okay guys, here is our fractional equation. I got it from June 2015. There is our question paper. It's June 2015. The question is here. There is the question. It's our number 2b. It's our number 2b. There is the fractional equation that we are solving there. Now, what you have to understand is that we have got a lot of methods that we use to do what? To solve these fractional equations. But now I'm going to show you the shortest method of solving this equation, since if you're in an exam you'll be racing against time. So let's try to solve this equation. The first method is this one. First solve what's on your left hand side. What's on your left hand side? So we first express this as a single fraction. So our common denominator is what? Is equal to, our common denominator is 15 here. So 3 into 15, that's what? That's 5. Bracket 3x plus 1 close minus, then 5 into 15, that's a 3. Bracket x minus 4 is equal to half. I have to simplify this up until I reduce it. So I've got a 15x plus 5 minus 3x plus 12 over 15 is equal to half. I then simplify this once. So it's a 15 minus 3, that's what? 12x. I've got a 12x, then 5 plus 12, that's a 17. So it's plus 17 over 15 is equal to 1 over 2. Now from this stage, it's simple. You just cross multiply. Your denominator multiplies your numerator across the equal sign. Whenever if you come across an equation with an equal sign like this one, you just cross multiply your numerators and denominators. So in this case, your 2 will go and multiply that side, then your 15 will go and multiply that side. So that's what you have to know whenever. So in this case, I'm going to have 2 times that one, that's a 2 bracket 12x plus 17 is equal to 1 times 15 is just equal to 15, like that. So 2 times the 12x, that's a 24x plus 34 is equal to 15. Then I collect my like terms. 24x is equal to 15 minus 34. 24x is equal to negative 19. You divide both sides by 24. By 24. There's nothing you can do there. So yeah, that's your final answer. X is equal to negative 19 over 24. That's it. That's it. You'll be done with this method number 1. Then I can take you further to what? To method number 2. We want to solve the same equation. So for method number 2, we're going to say, we repeat again, number 2p. I want to show you the second method. This is the first method. Now I'm taking you to the second method. that's 3x. Since we have a lot of ways of killing a cat, there are many ways of killing a cat. So then minus x minus 4 over 5 is equal to half. Some might say they are used to that method of first clearing the what? The fraction everywhere, right? So in this case, you multiply this 3 here, there, that side. You multiply this 5 here, there, that side. You multiply this 2 here, here, here. So the way you write this, you're going to put everything in what? In brackets. It should appear everywhere there. So in this case, you are going to have 3, 5, 2, then you put that one. 3x plus 1 close minus 3 bracket 5 bracket 2 bracket, then you put that one every in its bracket. X minus 4, it's still all over 5. This one is still all over 3 is equal to 3 bracket 5 bracket 2 bracket 1 still all over 2. Then we are going to cancel out what's possible. In this case is 2 and 2, 5 and 5, 3 and 3. Now do you see what you are left with? We are left with 5 times 2, that's a what? That's a 10. So as we continue, this is what you are left with. 5 times 2, that's 10. So I now have 10 bracket 3x plus 1 minus 6 bracket x minus 4 is equal to 15. I now expand there. That's a 30x plus 10 minus 6x plus 24 is equal to 15. I now collect my like terms. 30x minus 6x is equal to 15 minus 24 minus 10. Now 30x minus that minus 6x, that's a 24x is equal to, now I've got a 15 minus my 24, then minus 10. I'm going to obtain what? Negative 19 there. I divide both sides by 24. There's nothing I can do there. Then my x is equal to negative 19. That is my what? That is my final answer. So that is method number 2 for solving that equation. Now I'm showing you the last method. Now with this last method, I have to determine the lowest common multiple of my denominators, and I will have to use it once and for all. In this case, I've got 3 times 5, 15 times 2, that's 30. So that's a 30. I determine the what? Lowest common denominator for every denominator that I have there. And if you're using this method, you only use your denominator once and for all. You forget about it. So it's 3 into 30, that's what? That's a 10. So it's 10 times the numerator, 3x plus 1 close minus 5 into 30, that's a 6 bracket x minus 4 close is equal to 2 into that one is 15. 15 times 1 is just a figure of 15. I'm done with that denominator. I'm now taking this one. I'm expanding that. I'm done with that denominator. So it's now 10 times 3x, that's what? 30x plus 10 minus 6x plus 24 is equal to 15. I then collect my like terms. 30x minus 6x is equal to 15 minus 10 minus 24. It's now 24x is equal to negative 19. I think we have done this several times. You now divide you by 24 by 24, you obtain your final answer. So now I have shown you three methods of doing what? Of solving these fractional equations. The most effective method to use is the first method that I showed you. That is the precise method you can apply if you're in an exam, just because it's simple and straightforward. Okay, we're now moving on to this other question. It's a November 2015. That's our November 2015 paper 1. The question is number 7. There's the question. Solve the equation. So we're solving that equation. As I showed you earlier on, it's a matter of doing what? It's a matter of cross multiplying. It's a matter of what? Cross multiplication. You just cross multiply here. So in this case, it's a 4 bracket 2y plus 5 close is equal to 9 bracket 3y minus 2 close. It's now 8y plus 20 is equal to 27y minus 18. I now collect my like terms here. 8y minus 27y is equal to negative 18 negative 20. So it's now negative 19y is equal to negative 38. That's negative 38. I divide both sides by negative 19. It's now equal to 2. So your y is equal to 2. Your y is equal to 2. There are a lot of fractional equations that you are going to meet, guys. There's nothing like if an equation containing fraction is now complicated, there's nothing like that. You will be just complicating things. There's nothing like that. We're not doing 2014. This is the original paper. It's 2014. It's the original. It's not the other one, the other replacement. So there is our equation. We want to solve that one. Here, if you want to solve this equation, you just have to use this concept which I showed you here. You determine your lowest common denominator. In this case, your lowest common denominator will be what? Will be 20x. You use it once and for all. That's it. You use it once and for all. That's it. That's the most effective method to apply there. Because if you are to use that method which I showed you first, which says first simplify this to what? To obtain your answer, somehow you might end up obtaining what? Squared. You end up having your indexes there. So the effective method here is this one. That is the effective method there. Then we move on to November 2018. That is our paper 1. November 2018. That is our paper 1. I think I saw a question here. There is the question. It's number 16b. Number 16b. The question says solve the equation. There it is. So if it's like this, it's simple. This one, you have to first convert it into what? Into an improper fraction. So that's 2 times 1 plus 1. We're going to have our 5 over 2. Then we first simplify this one. We'll be expressing it as a single fraction. We'll end up by doing what? We'll end up by cross multiplication. We'll end up by cross multiplication like that one. We're going to obtain our final answer. Then there is this question that I want to show you. It's November 2014 replacement paper. It's November 2014 replacement. The question says, hence or otherwise solve the equation. So whenever if you come across a question, it means that there is something that you're supposed to do first. So we're going to first express that one as a single fraction. Let's try to express it as a single fraction. As I said, maths is the accumulation of topics. So if you didn't understand how you do quadratic fractions, then it will become difficult for you to solve such an equation. So in this case, this is our common denominator. Then I divide this into this. I'm going to obtain my 3 times 2 there. 3, 2 minus 1 bracket x plus 2. I'm going on to my final answer here. I'll do it like this. So this is my 6 minus 2. I'm going to obtain what? A 4. I'm summarizing, the reason being that we did this topic earlier. So that's 4 minus x. My answer here is what? 3 bracket x plus 2. This is my answer. Now, I want us to answer this question. The question says, hence or otherwise. This means that it's a continuation of that question. So you don't have to necessarily struggle here. You just take the answer that you obtained there, then continue with it this side. So I'll just do a continuation from that answer. So in this case, you'd have underlined. So if you're coming on your next stage, you're going to insert what? An equal sign, -1/5. What's next there? What you are supposed to understand is that whenever, if your fractions are in this format, if your fractions are now in this format, you will always cross multiply. You will always cross multiply. We always cross multiply if our fractions are in that order. They are separated by what? By just an equal sign. So we're now cross multiplying there. So as we cross multiply, bear in mind this negative sign goes with a numerator, not a denominator. Most of the students tend to make a mistake there, or some of them tend to be confused on which number is supposed to take this negative sign. This negative sign belongs to the numerator. So your numerator is the one that is negative. Your denominator is never negative in maths. In maths, a denominator is never negative. So as I continue, I'm going to have my 5 times 4. That's a 20 minus 5x is equal to -3x -6. And now collect my like terms here. It's now -5x plus 3 is equal to -6x -20. This is 3x. That is my 3x. Then it's now -2x is equal to -26. I divide both sides by a -2. Both sides. So 2 into 26, that's a 13. Then my x is equal to 13. My x is equal to 13. That is my answer. I've solved my equation. Okay, we're now doing this question from November 2006. What you have to understand, guys, is that if you are really preparing for your exam, you are supposed to play around with question papers so that you familiarize yourself with with the most asked questions. So in this case, I've got this equation from November 2006, and the other one is from November 2016. Now I want you to see something here. This is my November 2006. Then this is my November 2016. That is my November 2006. Then this is my November 2006. This is my November 2016 there. Do you see? Do you recognize anything there? What you recognize there? Solve the equation. Solve the equation. So I'm going to solve one equation for you. The other one you are going to do it as for practice. I'm going to just show you one of them. So let me try to do this 2016, the current one. Let me try to do this 2016. Since you have seen that type of question, actually let me do this 2006. 2006, there's the question. Let me do this 2006, there's the question. Solve the equation. So if the equation is like this, you just have to rearrange it. So how do you rearrange it? or in this case it's 1 over 2 minus m is equal to, we take this fraction and put it that side. Why? Because there is a 0. If here we had a non-zero digit, then the concept was going to be the other way around. We're going to first deal with this fraction up until we obtain a single fraction, then we end up by doing what? By cross multiplication. So for now, we consider this as a what? As a single entity. So we took it to that other side so that we will just cross multiply. So it's now positive 3 over m minus 4. You just do what? You just apply that concept. Whenever if you come an equation and the equation is now appearing to be like this, the concept remains the same. Don't get lost there. Never get lost there. As long as it's an equation. So it's now 1 bracket m minus 4 close is equal to 3 bracket 2 minus m close. It's now m minus 4 is equal to 6 minus 3m. I then collect my like terms. Now m plus 3m is equal to 6 plus 4. So it's now your 4m is equal to 10. I divide both sides by 4. So now m is equal to 2 and a half. There, how? It's 4 into 4, it's 1. 4 into 10, that's what? That's your 2. Remainder 2 over 4. I reduced this like this. 2 into 2 is 1. 2 into 4, that's a 2. That's how I obtained that 2 and a half. So that's the end of our lesson, where we're doing equations, different types of equations. I'll give you this one for practice. It's from November 2007. November 2007. You have to do practice for the future. It's for the future. Solve the equation. There's the equation. There's nothing new there. There's nothing new. You're not supposed to fear that kind of an equation. It's simple. Here you're going to say what? 1 over 1, so that you end up by doing what? By cross multiplying. So it's up to you on which method are you going to apply there. It's up to you on which method you are going to apply. Okay, so this marks the end of our lesson number 10. We're going to continue doing other forms of equations. Those will be now specific equations. So our next topic, we're going to focus on what? On quadratic equations and the function of x. Thank you, guys. Make sure you watch these videos and practice a lot, since I'm using ZIMSEC question papers for those students who know that they are going to sit for ZIMSEC examinations or even Cambridge examinations syllabus D. I think these videos are going to be so helpful. Thank you for your time, guys.